Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy Joel here. Today we're diving into the top 5 most dangerous countries in Asia. We're talking wars, terrorism, natural disasters, the whole shebang, folks. So buckle up, smash that subscribe button and get ready to explore the dark side of Asia. Alright guys, kicking off our list at number 5 is Afghanistan. Afghanistan has been a hotbed of conflict for decades, making it one of the most dangerous places on the planet. Imagine living in a place where the threat of violence is a daily reality. The Taliban, known for their brutal tactics, have been waging war in Afghanistan for years. Civilians, aid workers, journalists, they're all potential targets. Afghanistan is also a haven for terrorist groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. These groups thrive in chaos, and Afghanistan provides the perfect breeding ground for their twisted ideology. Traveling to Afghanistan? Not a good idea unless you've got a death wish. The U.S. State Department has a Level 4 travel advisory for Afghanistan. Do not travel. It's way too dangerous. It's way too. Next up at number 4, we have Syria, a country ripped apart by a brutal civil war that's been raging for over a decade. The conflict has left cities in ruins and communities shattered. This isn't just a war between two sides. It's a tangled web of different factions, all vying for power. The complexity of the conflict makes it difficult to see a clear path to peace. You've got the Syrian government, led by Bashar al-Assad, and the Syrian opposition, a loose collection of rebel groups. These groups have their own agendas and visions for Syria's future. ISIS saw an opportunity in the chaos and decided to carve out their own territory in Syria. Their presence has added another layer of terror and instability. Foreign powers like Russia and the United States are also involved, each backing their own side. This international involvement has only further complicated the situation. Millions have been displaced from their homes, forced to flee to neighboring countries or live in overcrowded refugee camps. Thousands have been killed, victims of airstrikes, barrel bombs, and chemical weapons. The use of such devastating weapons has caused unimaginable suffering. Imagine living in a country where you could be bombed by your own government or targeted by a terrorist group. The constant threat of violence is a daily reality for many Syrians. Even if you avoid the bombs and bullets, you'd still face a humanitarian crisis with food shortages and lack of clean water. Basic necessities are hard to come by. Syria is a stark reminder that the horrors of war are still a very real threat. The images of destruction and suffering are a call to the world to not forget the plight of the Syrian people. Chapter 3. Iraq, haunted by violence. Coming in at number 3 is Iraq, a country synonymous with war and instability. After the US-led invasion in 2003, Iraq descended into violence and chaos. The invasion toppled Saddam Hussein's regime, but created a power vacuum filled by various factions. Sunni insurgents, Shiite militias, Kurdish separatists, all vying for control. Then came ISIS, who exploited the chaos and seized control of large territories. While ISIS has been territorially defeated, the scars of their reign of terror run deep. The security situation remains volatile, and terrorist attacks are still a threat, especially in Baghdad. The road to recovery is long, and the threat of violence still hangs heavy in the air. Chapter 4. Pakistan, a nation on edge. At number 2, we have Pakistan, a country grappling with a complex web of internal and external threats. The streets are bustling with life, yet there's an underlying tension that permeates the air. Pakistan has long been a key player in the fight against terrorism, but has also been deeply affected by it. The military is constantly on high alert, conducting operations to root out militant groups. Various militant groups, including Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, have carried out numerous attacks within Pakistan's borders. These attacks have left a trail of devastation and have instilled fear among the populace. These groups exploit the country's porous borders with Afghanistan and the tribal areas. The rugged terrain provides a perfect cover for their illicit activities, making it difficult for security forces to maintain control. Beyond terrorism, Pakistan faces internal conflicts. particularly in the Balochistan province, where a separatist insurgency has been simmering for decades. The region is rich in resources, yet its people feel marginalized and neglected. Adding to the volatile mix is Pakistan's long-standing rivalry with India, its nuclear-armed neighbor. The two countries have fought several wars, and the border remains a flashpoint for potential conflict. The threat of a full-blown conflict between the two nations is a constant source of anxiety. Both sides frequently engage in military standoffs, and the international community watches with bated breath. Pakistan is a land of immense beauty and cultural richness, but it's also scarred by violence and instability. From its majestic mountains to its vibrant festivals, the country's spirit remains unbroken despite the challenges it faces. Chapter 5. Yemen, a humanitarian catastrophe. The situation in Yemen is dire and continues to worsen with each passing day. The #1 most dangerous country in Asia, Yemen. This nation has been ravaged by conflict and suffering for years. Yemen is in the grip of a humanitarian catastrophe so severe that it's often described as the world's worst humanitarian crisis. The scale of human suffering is unimaginable. Millions are on the brink of starvation, children are dying from preventable diseases, and bombs rain down with terrifying regularity. The healthcare system is in shambles, unable to cope with the overwhelming needs. Yemen's descent into chaos began in 2014, when Houthi rebels seized control of the capital, Sana'a. This marked the beginning of a prolonged and devastating conflict. The conflict escalated into a full-blown civil war when a Saudi-led coalition intervened in 2015. The intervention has only intensified the violence and suffering. The war has plunged Yemen into a humanitarian disaster, with millions lacking access to clean water, sanitation, or healthcare. Basic necessities are scarce, and the situation is desperate. The economy has collapsed, and food prices have skyrocketed, pushing millions to the brink of starvation. Families are struggling to survive, with no end in sight. Yemen is a stark reminder of the devastating human cost of war and the urgent need for peace. The international community must act to alleviate the suffering and bring an end to this crisis. Well, there you have it, folks. The top 5 most dangerous countries in Asia. Did any of these countries surprise you? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're there, hit that like button and subscribe for more mind-blowing content. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and keep exploring. Peace out.